And now, our feature presentation.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our feature presentation. I am Neil, and I'm here today with Phob.
Oh.
And today we're going to talk about Titan AE.
Yes, Titan AE.
Oh.
Starring all our favorite characters. Titan AE, Wild Style, Kangaroo Jack, Kangaroo Jane, Han Alono,
Honolulu.
and Goonie.
Goonie. Yeah. It was... I guess we talked about Don Bluth last time. We did a Bartok the Magnificent review, so I guess we kind of talked about our thoughts on Don Bluth there.
Oh, wait. Then that means, was there any maw shot or somebody getting eaten or any sort of that to confirm our theory?
I don't think so.
Because what I was thinking of is, because Sideshow Bear in Bartok had, because he had the really, detailed mouth and stuff, but I was looking at Kangaroo Jack, and he also has a really detailed mouth.
Well, yeah, he's also like an animal thing.
He has the same, mouth, where it's like he's really articulate, and it's really big, so he opens his mouth wide a lot.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know, I like his design a lot. I said earlier, he reminds me of, in Tank Girl, she has, like, the kangaroo boyfriend. He looks like that guy. But, Titan AE, it's a movie that's kind of infamous just because it bombed so hard. I think as far as, like, reviews and stuff, I think it's received mostly positive reviews. Or maybe it's, like, mixed reviews. I think it's, like, a 50% or something on Rotten Tomatoes. But, yeah, it's mostly just infamous because, like, no one really knew what to do with the movie at first. It was going to be live action, and it was handed off to 20th Century Fox's animation studio. And this is the movie that cost tons of money, basically killed their studio, and it's out of any animated movie, it's like one of the biggest box office bombs of all time, which is unfortunate because while I don't think Titan AE is like masterpiece by any means, I do think it's an enjoyable, fun movie.
Yeah, it has all that early 2000s music that you like.
Yeah, I love the early 2000s music in this because it's so out of place, like with the fact that they're in the future. And I think like at the time of making it, they're just like, oh, this is popular music, people will like this. But you go back and watch it now, and that music is just so out of date, and it's like hilarious to watch.
Oh yeah, it is.
It gives it like a Guardians, because in Guardians of the Galaxy, they intentionally have like 60s, 70s music, and then here they have like the early 2000s, late 90s music, but it wasn't intentionally made to sound like that. But then you watch it now and it feels like it was, like they intentionally picked a time period to pull all their music from.
Here's I think the big problem with the comparison with Guardians of the Galaxy, in that like those songs, they've had time to come around, because I guarantee there was a generation that grew up, and then they had kids, and then their kids listened to that music and loved it, and then the generation that raised them were like, oh, this is trash music. But then now it's kind of come full circle, so now people can just like it on its own. There's no context to that. But the thing is with that 2000s music is that I don't know if it has that same kind of like appeal that all that older pop music had, because it's much more like produced and safe and like committee driven, right? It doesn't have that kind of same heart and like artistic integrity.
That's true.
That a lot of older pop music had. So it's like you could listen to one of those older pop songs and be like, it's like, yeah, this is an actual song, right? And then you listen to some of this early 2000s music and you go, there was like 16 different producers all like fiddling with it, making sure that all this worked out. And I'm sure that's why those songs were picked in the first place for that movie, right? Because it's like, they're like, these are our safest picks, right? You know, the band's image is really good, right? There's no way this can turn back on us and fail. And it's like,
Well,
I'm watching this movie in the what's soon to be the 2020s, right? And it's not doing too hot.
it should have helped them at the time. You think at the time it would have helped them make money, but it's like back then it didn't make them money. Today, if they release something like that with that soundtrack, it would make even less money.
I hope they do an AE re-release and then just all that music is replaced by
That would be.
Would you think that would be sad if they replace it with just like a generic orchestral score?
That would be sad because I think that adds to the aesthetic of the movie, like the terrible early 2000s ish of it. Like, I mean, it's not a bad movie. Like I said, I enjoy this movie quite a bit, but it's very outdated in lots of areas.
I like that right now the early 2000s is being looked back at with nostalgia, not for having anything good come out in
Just
it.
for being
More
terrible.
it was just like all around, like almost everything was just bad.
Yeah.
It's like every single someone thinks early, like when someone thinks like even like 90s, right? They could think of like a couple things that are like, oh yeah, you know, that's what made that decade great for this reason and this kind of media, right? But then you like talk to anybody about 2000, they go, oh, 2000s.
But I mean, we don't have like any sci-fi animated movies. Maybe like the original Heavy Metal. Well, I guess there's only one Heavy Metal, but maybe like Heavy Metal or whatever. But like, you know, sci-fi and animation don't cross over a lot, which is really a missed opportunity. And I think that was kind of, from what I've read, it was like Don Bluth's inspiration for why he decided he'd take the project, is because it hadn't really been done before. And while this movie does do the thing, it combines a lot of traditional like 2D animation with CG, and that was like becoming a thing movies were doing around then. But I think that actually adds to the look of it a lot, because it's kind of like it makes like everything around the characters feel kind of you know, like it's actually there, like it's 3-dimensional, and it makes it feel a bit more believable, I guess. But then the characters themselves are all traditionally 2D animated. So,
well, I mean that. Although I feel like I feel like when they do that thing where they do like the 3D, right? I feel like the reason is that they're like, okay, we want all of these big shots where we can like do stuff with the camera, right? And in animation, that's really hard to do, where you pan the camera around and stuff and have the characters remain with consistent angling, right?
yeah.
So it's like, we'll make the background's 3D. That way it'll cut down, so we only have to focus on the characters staying in place, but we can do whatever we want with the environment. And then everybody was like, that's smart, well, it'll help. But then what they did then is like right after that, they were like, well, now that everything's 3D, we can have all of these panning shots. It's so easy. It's like, they just made the work hard again by like putting a lot of them in. And then the characters are constantly, you know, having to move with the background, and then it's just, they just broke it up into smaller parts and then spread it throughout the movie, instead of having, you know, 1 or 2 big shots, right, where they move everything.
I feel like the 3D would have made this movie more expensive, because especially considering the time period it came out in.
I don't know. I don't know.
Some of the CG, like we were saying, there's like those giant ice chunks, and
Oh,
it
yeah,
looks
that-
like
that was-
very realistic, and it's
That was
kind
the
of
best
like,
CG in the whole movie.
yeah, it's like, why would they even put that much money into that? Because they really didn't need to.
Okay, this has been on my mind the whole time, and it's been really bothering me, alright? This movie is filled with plot holes. Every other scene, there's a new plot hole.
I can't tell if this is a joke or not.
The big thing is that he has the ring that his dad gave him that has the map. There's going to be spoilers, by the way. The ring on his finger that has the map in the palm of his hand. it would be more consistent with Jack's character if he sold the ring at a pawn shop. He's obviously not doing too well, right? And that ring looks pretty expensive, right? It's filled with all sorts of antiquated technology that could go well in some sort of collector's collection.
I would
So
sell it.
obviously that's a plot hole. Plot hole number 2. There's a point where they're in space without spacesuits. You just die immediately. So it's like
That's true.
movie's over, right? So plot hole number 2. Plot hole number 3. He gets shot with a laser, but blood comes out. Lasers would cauterize the wound immediately. I watched Star Wars.
I do
all
like.
in all, movie's plot is pretty flimsy.
I know you're joking, but I just want to say I do really like that they show a lot of blood in this movie because it's like, I mean, not a lot, but like
But they actually show blood.
Yeah, like Don Bluth isn't afraid to like do some things, especially
he's
with
not afraid.
you know the one scene where Han Alono snaps Kangaroo Jack's neck, and it's just like, and just throws his lifeless body down the steps, and it's just like, how did they even get away with that? That's messed up.
That made me laugh so much because up to this point it's like been relatively a kids movie. Some fucked up stuff does still happen, but
like the chef getting like vaporized, and they try to play it off as comedy.
Violently murdered, and he hasn't done anything. He's not even been particularly an asshole. He just kind of seems like a bit curmudgeon-y, but that's it. And then they violently eviscerate him, turn him into goo. Which, by the way, when I got like a top 3 of ways I don't ever want to die, and being liquefied is one of them. I don't want to get turned into goo. All right. So like seeing that as a kid made me really, really scared, and it kind of affected me throughout the whole movie. I couldn't enjoy it properly because it kept flashing back to that scene.
Oh, I mean, out of all the scenes where someone gets turned to goo, that's probably the least disturbing for me. I didn't like in Sky High there was that kid who could turn into a puddle of goo.
Yeah.
I didn't like that, especially because in one of the parts, like, someone slips on him.
I was thinking about what that does. Like,
and I'd be like, he would be like
scrambled. Yeah, it's like. But why don't we talk about our least favorite goo transformation scenes? Number 1, Bumblebee. What the fuck?
I thought I liked that. I like the I thought the part was funny where the guy just cares about his car.
I don't like that he got turned to goo. I don't like that at all. Anyways, so yes, the movie does have has like some really weird, strange stuff. But yeah, that made me laugh when they threw his body down the stairs, because it's just like, it doesn't come out of nowhere or anything, but it's just like, you don't expect that up to that point, right?
Yeah.
Like,
this movie
he
throws
throws it down the stairs. It's not necessary.
Yeah, and then instantly after doing that, Han Alono is just a nice guy. Like, he just changes his ways and then sacrifices his life for the hero. And it's really like a major change in character, because there's like no reason for him to do that.
Well,
a lot of aliens in this just sacrifice their own life for the hero, and it's like, these people probably had families.
When they're on Exploding Tree Bat Planet, all those bats kept killing themselves so that Titan AE could stay alive.
Yeah.
But pothole number 4. They blow up one of the trees, and you'd think that since they're in such close proximity that they would just all blow up, but then they don't. What the fuck? But no, I think that the reason why Han Alono turned good at the end was because of his shirt. Because, okay, so here's some really, meta, in-depth, Stanley Kubrick, James Cameron, whatever you want to say, some amazing filmmaking, story-making here. But throughout the movie, Han Alono is wearing a black shirt with a little white stripe on it. And you know what that means. The black represents that he's evil, but the little white stripe, that little bit of good in him. And that's why he changes at the end. The reason that he turned for me is because he had betrayed Titan AE like so much, he was like even willing to kill him. But then after all that, like Titan AE still sacrificed, almost dies trying to save him, right? So I think that's what caused it, where he was just like, maybe this is bigger than me. Maybe there's a little bit of good in the universe, because that was his whole thing, is that he was like, that the universe is like a shit place and we have to stick together, right? But then it's like, nah, I was just joking. I was just pulling your leg. You have to take what you can get, and then get out there as fast as you can, right? And then, But then when Titan AE disproves that and shows them it's like, I have been beaten down my whole life, but you know what? I'm going to give myself to save you, right? Because we do got to stick together. Then he's like, no, maybe he's right. Maybe we do got to stick together.
Yeah.
Becomes a good guy and sacrifices himself.
I was just going to say, if it weren't for this movie, I don't think we would have Treasure Planet. And I think Treasure Planet is kind of the better version of this movie. So,
yeah.
It's like, there, you got something good out of it. Probably also Lilo and Stitch, maybe, but I feel like Lilo and Stitch's designs and stuff was very much inspired by Invader Zim. So,
but didn't Invader Zim come out after Lilo and Stitch?
I think it came up before Lilo and Stitch did.
I don't know if that timeline makes sense, but
you're
the movie master.
Maybe they were made at the same time, but
Also, I should have said. I'm mad that I said Goonie instead of John Leguizamo from the hit film John Wick.
Yeah.
Because that's who he is. It's John Leguizamo. Did he come back for John Wick 2?
Yes, he did. Wait.
That's right.
Yes, he was in it at the very beginning.
Do you think he's going to be in 3? Do you think this is how he gets his paychecks now?
No.
After Ice Age stopped?
Maybe he'll be one of the assassins who tries to kill John Wick in the third one.
That's what I feel. I feel like John's gonna come to him. He's like, I gotta get my car. I gotta get a new car. And he's like, yeah, come over here. And then he gives it to him. And then he pulls the gun.
John.
I'm sorry,
I can't
John
let
Wick.
you do that.
and then John Wick goes, why are you talking like that? I don't know what you're talking about. This is my normal voice. and then he snaps his neck and kicks him down the stairs.
Wow. John Wick 3 sounds great.
Oh wait, no. If he would die like he did in Titan AE, he would have given him a watch that then explodes, and he gets hit by the explosion at point blank, but then he's completely unscathed. Just like in Titan AE. Just like how it happened to John Leguizamo with Titan AE.
Well, I think we're going to wrap up about now, because it's probably enough.
Is there anything else? Anything else that we wanted to talk about? I talked about all the numerous plot holes.
Not really that I know of. I mean, it's a good movie. I like it. It's outdated, but that's okay.
Because we got Treasure Planet out of the whole deal.
Yeah. We should talk about Treasure Planet sometime. Maybe we will. We'll see.
Okay.
Alright, see ya. Bye.
Bye.